Howdy, Fi Guy listeners. Welcome back to another episode. Today, we are recapping the Mark Massey podcast, and Chris is back. He's back from Japan. Welcome back, Chris. Welcome back. We're going to get a little bit into your trip, yeah, I hope.
We'll talk a little bit about it. I'm still trying to recuperate from the whole thing. After coming back was a 24, 25 hour ordeal, from leaving the hotel door to getting into my front door here in Arizona.
Yeah.
So we'll talk a little bit about it. Maybe, actually what we should do is next Five Friday feedback. We're still trying to consolidate all the photos. So what we'll do next Five Friday feedback is we'll go ahead and I'll show photos for our viewers that listen on YouTube, and I'll talk about my entire experience. And, maybe it won't be as big of a financial podcast, but Fi doesn't really have any bounds. So I think by showing the things that Fi is possible of doing if you pursue it, the correct way and use your credit card points the correct and do all the things that we talk about. These are the kind of trips you can go on. So I'll tell you my experience from Japan. We'll do that next Friday feedback. So I won't talk too much about Japan today.
Okay. That's fair. I can't wait to see those photos. I know you sent me a few of them. I'm excited. I am very excited. You think everybody should go to Japan?
I think at least once. Yeah, dude. It was really cool. I was thinking when I was there, we should have recorded a podcast or something, but with us being on a 16-hour difference, when I was waking up, so when I woke up at 6 a.m., it was 4 p.m. here in Phoenix. Yeah. There was a time that you texted me hey, I need something from you. And you texted me at 3 a.m. in the morning there. And I was like, yeah, there's no way I'm going to see that.
Yeah, I texted you and I was like, yeah, Chris is always getting back. He's always quick with it. And you didn't text me back. I'm like, huh. And I was like, whatever, I'll find a workaround. And then 3 hours later, I was sitting on the couch and I was like, you idiot. There's a huge time difference. No wonder he didn't text me back. I'm like, what time is it in Japan? It's 3:30 in the morning. I'm like, fuck. That makes sense.
No wonder he didn't text me back.
No wonder. What I was going to call you. What's going on, man? You okay? Alive?
Yeah, my do not disturb wouldn't have got you through anyways. But yeah, I'm really happy that you and Mark were able to come on together and chat and kind of go over my understandings. You guys talked about inflation quite a bit. So big shout out to Mark Massey. Thank you so much for coming on for 2 podcasts in a row with us and not letting us fall behind in our recording schedule by me being gone in Japan for 2 weeks.
Yeah, it was a good conversation. Yeah, like you said just now, we did talk about inflation. And with that being said, let's just get right into what we talked about, since this is our Five Friday feedback, our Five Friday episode where we recap Monday's episode. We talked a lot about inflation, different ways to hedge against it, what it is, and it's a lot more complicated than people might think, because people just assume inflation, it's just a magical number that takes away my money over time and makes things more expensive, and it's like, well, yeah, yes and no. But yeah, no, let's before we even get into that, let's start out with a definition of inflation. Yeah. Inflation measures the rate at which the general level of prices and goods and services rise, leading to a decrease in purchasing power. It's a universal force. I love that. It's a universal force affecting everything from your morning coffee to your investment portfolio. I like to think of myself as a universal force as well. But yeah,
cosmic.
Cosmic force for good, hopefully. So that is the definition of inflation, to start it off.
So I always like to hear whenever someone reads the Webster's definition of things, I'm always like, okay, I don't know what that means, but okay.
Yeah.
So the way I always like to explain to my clients what inflation is it basically means that your dollar is losing purchasing power every day. So most of my clients, or a lot of my clients, are retired. So when I'll tell them about that, I'll be like, remember when you were a kid, you used to be able to walk into a store and buy or get dinner and spend $3, $2, $5 and get a pretty good dinner. Nowadays, if you want to go to McDonald's or whatever, I remember when I was a kid, even go to McDonald's, you get a Happy Meal and it was $4, $3.
Yeah. It was
nowadays,
cheap.
I think a Happy Meal is $10, something like that. And it's still terrible. Not probably even worse food than it used to be.
Oh, it's so terrible. So bad. So chicken nuggets.
So inflation hits in a bunch of different ways, not only in that the cost of the Happy Meal is more expensive, but also what you're getting, you're probably getting less than what you used to as well, because the inflation didn't just hit you, the consumer, it also hit the producer. Yep. So it hit McDonald's. So they had to cut back as well because their cost of goods are going on and they can't pass on those prices to us, the end consumer, that quickly. So what they typically do is something called shrinkflation. Well, they'll try to give us less of our goods and hope that we just don't notice.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's a bit of an outrage in the sandwich business, in the sandwich world, since your return from Japan. You know, I don't know if you remember $5 foot long, the iconic song, $5 foot long. That used to be my anthem back in 8th grade, honestly. And I loved it. I was a Subway guy. You know, my dad would pick me up on the weekends. We'd go get Subway. We'd get, you know, a cold cut combo and a meatball marinara. $10 get us done for the night, you know. And sometimes I'd save the back 6 inches, right? And people were like, they're like, bring it back. We want the $5 foot longs back. And you know what they did? They brought back something new, and it wasn't the $5 foot long.
The $5 5-inch.
It was the $6 6-inch. They brought, dude, yeah. So that's their new deal now. But from $5 foot long to $6 6-inch. So
less meat.
It cut in half. Yeah, less meat. It got cut in half and the price went up. So yeah, it's a two-handed slap in the face with a meatball marinara.
I didn't know that. Yeah. That's pretty funny.
Yeah. Not ideal for us sandwich goers, but sandwich wars raise on.
Yeah. So inflation it's extremely difficult. And unfortunately, a lot of people, they got used to zero inflation because from the year basically 2000, really, maybe 2001, we had a rate of inflation that was around 0 to 1%. So it was doing nothing. And then after COVID and, you know, the government started stimulating the economy by putting in more money than ever been produced in like 2 weeks than it was ever produced in all of history. Inflation started going on the rise. And unfortunately, it wasn't just, you know, the inflation wasn't already going to be bad because of all that money, but also there was 20 years of backlog inflation that needed to happen. So that's why we were seeing rates of 7, 8, 9, 10% CPI numbers. That's consumer price index of inflation rising up. And that was happening month over month. So that's why people were watching like the price of milk or eggs, and it was going from, you know, $2 for a carton to $6 to a carton to $12 for a carton. Everyone's like, oh my God, is this ever going to stop? You know, thankfully it did. It started to tail off. And that's the nice thing about inflation is it is ebbs and flows. But the big issue is that sticker price is sticky, meaning that once a price falls to like a certain level, so like for a carton of eggs or milk or something like that, I think a lot of people think about gasoline and they'll see gas run in cycles from summer to winter. And they're like, okay, so the prices of goods ebbs and flows, but that's only gas. It's only one market. Most markets, especially like in stores or at restaurants, stuff like that, once the prices hit their price, they stay there. They don't go back down.
No, they don't. Do you think it's a good thing that there wasn't any inflation for all those years?
No. Because I mean, whenever I don't like inflation is not a universal law. I think people believe that it is a universal law, but it really isn't. It's something that our government does in order, or pretty much all governments nowadays do, in order to spur spending. Because if money didn't lose value, the fear of all governments is that people wouldn't spend that money and they would hoard it. And then since we here in America, we're a consumer economy, the way that we grow is by having people buy stuff. So if people were holding on to their money, and this is what like cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin is really trying to fix is, you know, Bitcoin believes that you should be able to hold your money and actually have that money not lose purchasing power, if not anything, gain purchasing power just by you being a good steward of your capital. But that's not really the system that we live in.
No, not at all. Interesting. Yeah, I was wondering about that because I was like, if money never loses its value, then everything would stay the same forever. Am I wrong in that?
No, not really. Not really, because goods will always be produced and we will always continue to advance and people will still always want more. Because I think a lot of governments, they start to step in saying, if we don't have inflation, people won't spend money because people will want to hold on to their money because it's going to be valuable, be worth more. But at the end of the day, people are still people. People are still greedy. We're still like, we're really moved by two factors, fear and greed. And, you know, trying to show off to other people. So no matter what, I think people are still going to spend. Might we spend less? I don't know. You tell me, do you spend money right now saying like, if I don't spend this money, then it's going to lose purchasing power? Is that a thought in your mind in any way, shape, or form?
No, I mean, if I was going to buy a house, maybe.
Mhm.
That's a massive purchase, but it's not like for eggs and milk. No. I buy eggs and milk because I want to make, food. I gotta eat,
Mhm.
and I love eggs and milk. I'm not gonna lie, I have about 120 eggs in my my kitchen right now.
Jesus Christ. Okay.
Well, okay.
I have
well,
like 24.
I had okay. So I bought eggs, and then I was telling my mom, I was like, I ran out of eggs, so I had to go buy eggs. She's like, oh, I'll buy you some eggs, and she went to Costco and got like a 60 count. So now,
Oh, she got the five.
yeah,
The
so
five.
now I'm running deep with eggs, so it works out good because I ran out of protein powder, so I can just start supplementing with large amounts of eggs.
Yeah, just do the Rocky special. Crack 2 in there and drink them.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I don't think like my money is gonna lose purchasing power if I don't buy these eggs today and tomorrow. It's not a thought in my mind.
Yeah.
I much would prefer costs to just stay low.
Mhm.
I think I'd buy more sandwiches if they were still at $5. I think I would.
Yeah, and that's kind of one of the hard things, right? Is that as prices, and we've noticed this with just American consumerism and just normal consumerism after 2023, when was COVID? Whenever that was.
1 to 23, I guess.
Yeah. After COVID, we noticed that a lot of people, when inflation started going, rather than going out and spending, they just stopped spending.
Yeah.
So like rather than going out, rather than eating, they just stopped. And then they, and that's why now we have this revenge spending of people spending their money that they still really don't have in order to make up for it. Because people feel that there's an amount of money and it's really not based off logic or based off like actual numbers. It's based off of a feeling. And sometimes it's hard to say like, oh, you shouldn't go off of your feelings because it's your feelings and it does have basis in fact. But when you're just saying, I want to spend money because I want to spend money because I feel like I should spend money, it could get you into a really bad financial situation because sometimes the actual numbers don't line up with the way you feel about things.
No, they don't. And we actually have a viewer mailbag on that similar topic today about overspending and overextending yourself. And just not
good.
for it.
I look forward to getting into that.
Yeah, it's a beefy one.
What else did you and Mark talk about on Monday's pod?
Well, we talked a lot about obviously inflation, but ways to hedge against inflation as well.
Mm-hmm.
Hard assets, gold, silver, real estate, have served historically as hedges against inflation.
Mm-hmm.
And maintaining, those things in your portfolio can definitely help against it.
Mm-hmm.
I know that's not really common though. It's not very common. You don't see a lot of people with gold bars, silver bars, massive real estate portfolios. So another more palatable way, more common way is basically through stocks and whatnot. And obviously, you're the guy to talk to about that. But yeah, we talked a lot about how, you want a certain percentage of increase every year to fight against inflation on your stocks. Otherwise,
Mm-hmm.
you're getting killed in the market and you're losing purchasing power.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, what do you think they should invest in if they want to hedge against inflation? It's pretty simple, right?
I think it's going to be different strokes for different folks, right? And what's going to be best for you. I think a lot of people, they think this as like, what's my one way that I'm going to go with? And your finance should be like an ecosystem. No ecosystem is complete with only one thing that you're doing. It's a bunch of different things. So if you can have real estate, great, have real estate. You should also have stocks. You should also have some bonds, maybe. You should have some fixed income. For me, the biggest things that I focus on is stocks, because the big thing when it comes down to inflation is you want to own actual tangible assets that are producing real goods in the world, because that's what's going to outpace inflation. Pretty much, that's the only thing that we can really guarantee. Mm-hmm. You really can't guarantee that gold is going to outpace inflation. It's difficult with those things a little bit more, I think, when you're trying to like go on currencies and saying like, oh, currencies are going to outpace. It's a little bit more difficult. But when you have actual tangible goods, like I want to buy Apple stock, I want to buy Amazon. my guess is no matter what's going on with inflation, those companies are still going to go out. They're going to produce better and better goods, and they're going to be able to raise their prices as inflation continues to go. And people in the real world are going to go out and buy those things with whatever the inflation is, whatever inflation rate is, buy those goods in order to give that back to the shareholder.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's the same thing with real estate. Yep. Those are hard assets that people are paying you in that inflated monetary standard in order to, they're giving you that money for whatever the good or service is. Mm-hmm. If may that be rent or a new iPad.
Yeah, absolutely. And if someone wanted to get started in stocks, obviously they could go to Webull, they could open up a trading account or a Roth account, mm-hmm. or they could, what you would probably suggest is seek financial counseling, right? Financial advice.
It really depends on what situation you're in, right? I mean, if you're just getting started, you have no money, you're right out of college. If you have a job, I would say, start in a 401k. If your job offers a 401k, at least get that match, mm-hmm. like for sure, at least get that match. That's 100% return on your investment. I know we've also talked about vesting schedules. So look at that too. See at what point are you actually going to be vested. But yeah, there's so many different ways, right? You can open a traditional or a qualified account where you're doing like a Roth or a traditional and you're getting some tax exemptions, or you can just do a traditional account like a TOD, transfer on death, or a non-qualified account where you're just putting money in. There's no tax incentives for it in any way, shape, or form, but you can put in as much or as little amount into those accounts as you want. Whenever you sell, you're going to be, having a taxable gain or a tax loss. But that's okay too, because that means that money is 100% gettable for you if you need it today.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, not everyone needs to work with a financial advisor. I want to be very clear on that. But if you're lost and don't know where to go, I would say start here at the FI Guys. You can always go back to the FI Crash Course. Start there. Like we did a 12-set course on everything that you need to know in order to start your path to financial independence. So that's a really good way to start. And then if you watch all those and you're still like, I don't know what to do, then maybe it might be time to reach out to somebody. But if you're really just getting started, no money in the market, no money to invest, reaching out to a financial advisor, they're not going to really be able to help you.
No.
With the exception of give you some education.
Yeah. And you can get the education for
you get the education for us for free here. I noticed this, and this is a story that I use with a lot of my clients. So maybe I'll tell the story at a different point, but I like to think of being good with finances is like a tree, right? And so many people, when they come and they ask me like, what stock should I buy? What should I focus on? That's like trying to take care of your tree by only looking at the leaves and only like, oh, I just need to treat the leaves. Like if the leaves are good, then the tree's going to be good. But if you're not focusing on the trunk of the tree and the roots of the tree, that tree is going to die. Yeah. And those trunks or those roots are your financial habits. Are you making more than you spend? Are you spending less than you make? Are you saving the difference? And are you investing it into the right accounts? Those might be the branches. But by saying like, what should I invest in? Which specific stock? What's the thing that's going to get me? Which crypto account? That's the leaves on the tree. And if you focus on those only, your tree's going to die because that's not the most important thing. The most important thing is the roots.
I like that analogy. It's a good analogy. Yeah, I think oftentimes we get caught up in the headline of like, oh, Bitcoin's hit a new high, 60,000. It's like, should I buy it now? Should I get some? It's like, you know how much you make? You know how much you spend? Let's go with the basics first before we start diving into the cryptos and all these different get rich quick or investment, quote unquote investments. Not to say Bitcoin isn't an investment, but that's a whole nother rabbit hole that we're not going to go down.
Yeah. And that's just FOMO, right? Like that's just, that honestly is just fear of missing out, and also fear that other people are going to make money when you're not going to. You're going to feel stupid. But what's going to make you feel even more stupid is if you put money that you don't have into an investment that wasn't real, and then you lose more than you didn't already have. Yeah. And now you're even in a worse situation than you would have been originally. And that's what a lot of people find themselves in. But we don't hear about those people. No. What you hear about is the kid who goes in there, puts some money in, and it goes to the moon, and they were really, really lucky. But for every one of those stories, there's 10, 20 other stories of people that went the exact opposite. But they're not going to go onto social media and be like, look at me. I put in, I took out a loan in order to buy this, and it went to zero, and now I owe the loan back.
Oh, no. Yeah, it's not where you want to be. Not where you want to be at all. It's yeah, people taking out loans for investments like that. It's not the move. Not the move, guys. It's not the move.
Yeah, I mean, what it comes down to, there's other things you need to focus on before you're focusing on what's the right investment.
Yeah.
Like we've talked about like what the right investment is for most people. Like I just think it's a broad market index and just get out of your way. Focus on your habits, focus on your life, because the people that think that, oh, I know what I'm doing, I'm going to day trade, I know this, and like I know what I'm doing. It takes a lot of time, a lot of commitment to be good at these things. And most people just don't have the time, they don't have the resources, and they don't have the desire to want to do that.
No.
Yeah, they want to be rich and they want to be rich right now, but there aren't really many great strategies for getting rich right now outside of like start a company that succeeds. And it's really hard to say like, this is what's going to be successful.
Yeah. It's yeah. There's no quick way to get rich. That's what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Slow it.
No quick guaranteed way to get rich.
There you go. Quick and guaranteed. That's true. That's a lot better.
Yeah. There are a lot of good quick ways to get rich. You can go and put everything on black or on green in a roulette table, and if you hit, great, and you just got rich really, really quick. And I could go to Vegas right now, put it all on one number, spin that roulette table, get it, come on social media and be like, guys, I'm a freaking genius. Like I knew it was going to happen. You guys have to do all this too. And everyone look at me and be like, oh no, that guy's an idiot. But when someone does it with stocks, everyone goes like, that guy must be a genius.
Yeah. And then you get the fear of missing out. Like if you went and put 10,000 on red and won, I wouldn't feel like, oh, I need to go put 10,000 on red right now.
Yep.
But if you went and bought like ABC stock, fictitious company, and it went up 70% in the last week, I'd be like, wow, I got to get on it, get in on this for some weird reason. For some weird reason, we don't equate it to gambling, and that's
But honestly, it could be because you don't know. I mean, maybe I had some insider information. Maybe I just got lucky, and unfortunately, that's what normally happens: is people just get lucky. It's sheer dumb luck, and they think that they're geniuses because of sheer dumb luck. So I think one of the best things that can happen to people when they get into the market trying to day trade is they fail tremendously. That's the best thing that can happen to them, because then they realize that this is not as easy as they think it is. The worst thing is that they get in, they 10x their things, and that's what happened to a lot of people in my age demographic, millennials. When after 2000, and a lot of us were in high school during the great financial crisis of 2008, 2009, and then when we finally got out of college, we were just moving, like it was all starting to work again. Unfortunately, there were no jobs, but the stock market was doing really, really well. So people that were getting in, they just thought like, oh, I'm a genius. Look how well it's going up, no matter what I buy, because I'm so smart. But everything was going up.
It's easy to make money in a bull market. Make money in a bear market. Yeah, I feel like that's how it was for me as well. During COVID, like that's when I really got into like trading stocks and whatnot. And I was just, I remember the first trade I made was like, I made it. I was watching a video on it on American Airlines and how like XYZ was happening with it. I was like, I'll buy a little bit of American Airlines. It's like 2:30 in the morning. I put like a limit order in for when the market opened. It bought. I woke up at like 11 o'clock late, and I was like, oh wow, I just made $300. How about that? I didn't even do anything. I was like, I'm a genius.
It's that simple. And then you just keep on doing it. And then eventually people lose their shirt, right? And it was Warren Buffett that said, only when the tide goes out do you see who's swimming naked. So only when things go bad do you realize, oh, these people had no idea what they were doing.
That's exactly what happened. Improper risk management,
but luckily
improper due diligence on other stocks, improper stop losses, not paying attention, and then bam, got wiped out.
Yeah, but luckily you learned that young, and you also learned it with not a lot of money. There's some people that don't learn that young, or they end up earning a lot of money from a different place in their life by making money from their job or from actually making a successful company and running it and then selling it. And then they decide, oh, I'm going to take this and take it to the stock market because I was successful in this domain. I must also be successful in stocks, but only in stocks. Like there are people like Ray Dalio. There are people like Warren Buffett, geniuses who only focus on this 24/7, 365. They have teams of people. They have fiber optic cables right next to the New York Stock Exchange in order to make trades milliseconds faster than everyone else. That's like you walking up to an NFL player and saying, I bet I can run a faster 40 than you.
Dude, you think you could outrun maybe one of the linemen?
No, no way.
They're quick, dude. They're weirdly fast.
Yeah, they're fast.
Weirdly fast.
They're crazy fast.
Yeah.
No, I'm not fast.
I'm not fast. I'm about as fast as a land animal can be. I'm not that fast. Good Lord.
So what else did you and Mark talk about? So you guys talked about inflation. You guys talked about sticky inflation. I know you talked a little bit about different ways to hedge against inflation. Was there anything else you guys spoke about that was
you know,
want to talk
not
about?
too much. He did hit me with one that kind of surprised me. Apparently, him and his family, they have an Airbnb. They've got a nice little property on the beach. And he said, when we want to go use it, we go use it. When we don't want to go use it, we have a management company that manages the Airbnb. I never knew about that. I always heard about, management companies for like rentals, stuff like that, obviously. But Airbnb rentals, I didn't know about this. So I guess they take care of the cleaning, take care of all the little stuff. They get a pretty good commission, I assume. And he said it makes a decent amount of money. It makes a good amount, like a surprising amount of money. So, yeah, I mean, I thought that was very interesting. I personally had never heard of someone personally doing an Airbnb making money from it. I always heard about it online and whatnot. And I do know people who have rental property, long-term rental property. But, he said it was, it's printing cash. Yeah, it was making money. So I thought that was very interesting.
And now Dom's FOMO comes out where he's like,
Listen,
I need to buy
Chris, could I borrow your
house on a beach.
When you go to Africa, could I Airbnb your house?
Yeah, this
good idea.
Good idea.
No, it's interesting though. It's just what's interesting to me,
Yeah, and I think it comes down to there are 100 different ways to make a lot of money, and they all work.
That's the thing; they all work. They all work. I was telling my friend who they're like, I'm tired of being poor, and I'm like, listen, you could be great at anything, you can't be great at everything. So just pick one, dedicate yourself to it, and you can be successful in it if you give everything. If you're willing to be successful. My belief is you will be successful.
Yeah, and then as you start to find success, just make sure that you're spending less than you make. I think that's the biggest trick to it. And it sounds so simple. I know people, when I say it, like spend less than you make, invest the difference. People are like, no, that's too easy. Like, what's the real trick?
Yeah. It's literally that. It's literally that.
Like there are a bunch of little hacks, and I can teach you all the little hacks. And we've gone over, almost 40 episodes of a bunch of different hacks that you can do. But when it comes down to it, like that's the root of the tree. That's the trunk, are those two things. We can't focus on the branches and the leaves. All that is for naught. If you're only focusing on treating the branches and the leaves, it means nothing if your roots and your trunk is screwed.
You got to factor in the sun, you got to factor in the season, the roots, the soil, the fertilizer you're using. I mean, it's everything. It's everything. I recently, me and my garden and plants, I recently got this like industrial size, what feels industrial size amount of fertilizer for my garden. So, if you see any like FBI agents near my house, you know why. But yeah,
because you're
fertilizer.
growing
fertilizer is a component in bombs. Can be.
Oh, okay.
But no, I got this like Miracle Grow, dude. It was like $22, and I got so much. You mix like a tablespoon and put it in a gallon, and then like the gallon, like it's just great. It's great. I've been using it. I've been trying to bring my plants back to life because they have not been doing well in the front yard, so I moved into the backyard. They're doing better, but they're definitely still on life support. Gotta learn that green thumb like my mom. Anyway, but yeah, no, that's what we talked about with Mark Massey.
Mark,
his brother, imaginary brother. But yeah, inflation, sticky inflation, how to hedge against inflation. The hidden costs of it, how an advisor can play a part in that. That's basically what we talked about, and I liked it. It was a good conversation. I didn't mind. Having the podcast to myself. It was kind of interesting, kind of cool.
Yeah, just to be like, I'm in charge today. But I think it's really important. I think you just brought up another important part is making sure that you plan for it. I think the average American spends 4.5 hours a year doing financial planning. 4.5 hours a year financial planning, which is not enough. That means like coming down to budgeting, like checking everything and making sure that they're doing stuff when it comes down to like their finances. 4.5 hours a year. Like, how much time do you dedicate? Like they dedicate more time to that than they do they dedicate more time to a vacation that they're going to have in a year than they do towards their life, like their financial life.
2 of those 4 hours is just taxes.
And yep. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. 2 of those. Yeah, probably, if not more. If you're me, probably more, because God, I hate taxes. But, so many people when they think about, oh, when I retire, I'm only going to need this amount of money, and they think stuff like that, but they forget to factor in inflation and how much that's going to do, because they look at costs of what they think is right now, or even worse, I met a lot of people who they think of cost of when they were kids. And like, oh, well, a car costs like this much. And we start to think in our heads that there are all these numbers of what things cost, but those numbers in our heads, just like our feelings, they don't match reality all the time. And it can get very, very dangerous when someone says like, oh yeah, a house, when I was growing up, they were like 200,000. So a house is like 200,000. When I was growing up, they were probably like 20,000, 30,000. So like, that's what a car costs. My parents paid $500 a month to feed all 4 of us. So that's probably what it costs for me to do it too. So all I probably need to make is like $40,000 a year, right? And I'm good. And they think it's going to work because they're not actually looking at what things are costing them and how they're living, because they don't know how much money they're making. They don't know how much money they're spending. And they're just kind of going off of feeling as to what they're going to need to one day retire.
Yeah.
And that's where we try to really focus on. And if you know your numbers, it gives you a sense of control more than anyone else. And regardless if you choose, and I know we're the FI guys, we're all about pursuing financial independence because what it's done for our lives. But even if you decide, I don't want to be financially independent, like I don't want to retire early, guess what? I don't want to retire early either. So that's cool. But if you say, I don't want to be financially independent, there is no way that pursuing financial independence hurts you in any way, shape, or form. It only improves your life. The only way that you can say it does hurt you is that you have to sacrifice a little bit now, right now, for you to have more in the future. But you can have both. You can have your cake and eat it too with financial independence.
We're not asking you to eat PB&Js for 16 years, right? Life is to be enjoyed. What's the point of living if you're not enjoying life, right?
Yep.
And it just sucks that people just can't. It's people oftentimes view it on the extremes, and the absolutes. It's like I must be super stingy so that I can live a great life. It's like, well, if you're super stingy and you get to retirement, you're still going to be stingy. But to be super abundant now, you're not going to be as abundant later, unless you want to just work the same job all your life. Fine, but yeah, only a Sith deals in absolutes, right? We're not Sith.
Yeah, and
we're
not Sith here. But it's just good to know, just to have a basic understanding. You don't have to know everything. You don't have to dedicate as much time a day that Dominic and I do. I would probably tell most people not to. It's too much work.
Analysis paralysis.
Like I deal with this.
Right?
Yeah, it's too much. And I deal with this as my job. And I don't dedicate hours of my day to my own finances. I dedicate like 2 hours a week to my own finances. Maybe 2 hours a week. Most likely like an hour, maybe-ish. Because a lot of it is just set it and forget it. But of course, I'm a little bit more in it because it's my job to be in it. So of course I think about a little bit more than the average person, but most people should not. But having the information is very, very important. And with that, I said we kind of get into FI Friday feedback unless there's anything else you want to talk about that you and Mark spoke about.
I just want to say a big shout out to Mark. Appreciate you for coming on the podcast, buddy. Great talk. That was enjoyable. It was very enjoyable.
Yeah. And if any of our listeners ever want to meet Mark in person or virtually, or you ever need any help with insurance things, please reach out to me, chris@monzonwealth.com. If you have any insurance needs, I guarantee that you'll end up on a Zoom call with me and Mark, because he does those all the time with me for anything insurance. He's my guy.
He's the guy. So with that being said, it's Fry Friday. Fry Friday? I'm hungry. Fry Friday. Little fish fry on Friday. That's one of the things I'm looking forward to when I'm a very old person. It's like going to the old people club, getting that fish fry on Friday. I'm excited for it. I'm gonna have to bum a fish fry off my parents when they get that age. Anyway, me and my digressions. Bye Friday feedback, viewer mailbag. I'm panicking over my husband's financial confession. Oh boy, here we go. Lock in, boys, lock in. This one's gonna be a doozy. I read this one, and let me tell you, a lot. It is a lot. So, howdy, Fi guys. Howdy. My husband just confessed to me that he's been lying to me about our finances for the past 2 years. I know I should have had more involvement in the finances, and I'm not assuming he has it covered. But it's too late for that now. Please don't shame me. I already feel awful about dropping the ball and beating myself up pretty bad. I would love to talk to a professional about our finances, but I don't really want someone pushing a debt collection program because I'm afraid of being taken advantage of. I don't know where to look for someone who's legit. So here's the details of the situation. Get ready, Chris. You got your... Give me them deets. All right. We own a home. Great start. We owe about $280,000 on that home. This home needs major repairs. We're talking a new HVAC system. They live in Florida. It needs major plumbing. Taco Bell. There's a mystery leak somewhere in our water bill that has made it super high. We need a new roof. We can't afford to make these repairs, and we're preparing to sell the house. Our real estate agent said, as is, we could probably get it to an investor for about $280, right?
Yeah.
If we make the repairs, it could sell for $350 though. So it's sizable. It's a good difference.
Yeah, but how much are those repairs going to cost?
A new roof, expensive. Major plumbing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the roof, 30 grand.
You think 30?
Right there.
I guess so. It depends on the size of the house. I mean, a new air conditioner is $8.
Yeah, air conditioner for me, I think, is 15 because I have two.
Two-story. All right. We're planning on moving us and our 4 kids north to help out my chronically ill mother. Her health is failing.
4 kids.
4 kids.
Oh boy.
Her health is failing and she needs our help. Sorry to hear about that. Our plan was to move into our RV and live in that. We've been trying to fix it up. It's not currently habitable. We have 2 dogs and 3 cats. Okay. Yep.
Hold on. So they want to move 2 adults, 4 kids,
2 dogs and 3
2
cats.
dogs and 3 cats into an RV. Jesus.
I've been in some pretty big RVs. Oh. You don't want that many people and that many animals in a big... Okay. They're in a different season of life, all right? Okay, so our plan was to move into the RV and live like that. We've been trying to fix it up, but it's not currently habitable. We have the 2 dogs. Okay, so finding an apartment with that many animals would be next to impossible, and if we left our pets behind, our kids would never forgive us if we had to rehome them. Okay, here's a brief overview of our finances. This is according to my husband, and I have yet to verify any of this, but I'm working through it. Minivan. We owe $11,000 on it. Monthly payment, $470. It's not currently drivable. Needs a new engine. Engine, $7,000 to repair, roughly. Car 1. At least that's what they're saying Car 1 is. Car 1. Working on a vehicle. I see where they said this. So they have another car. It's their only working vehicle for 4 adults and 2 minors. $320 in monthly payment, and they're not sure how much they owe on it.
Wait, they said for 4 adults? I get it. Okay, so there are 2 parents, there's 4 kids, so 2 of the kids must be adults. So by adults, that means
18 plus?
16, maybe 18 plus? So they have 2 18-year-olds and then 2 minors who probably don't drive.
Yeah.
So 16 below. Okay.
RV, as we talked about. We owe $10,000 on this RV. It's in collections, and it would be repoed if they knew where it was.
How do you think this person listens to the Fi Guys very often, or this is You know what? I'm not even going to go there. We're just going to keep on listening. Let's hear what else happens.
My hope is that they are listening to us to better themselves, and they're not just using us as a lifeline for help, because there's no point in us helping you if you get back in the same situation. We're trying to make lifelong change. So the next car. My husband failed to insure the car. That's illegal, isn't it?
Well, you can have comprehensive.
Liability.
You can have liability, so to protect other people without having comprehensive.
It's like if you have like a super old car.
My guess is,
gotcha.
Yeah. Or even like a newer car, if you have enough money to self-insure and be like, hey, if I total my car, it's okay. Like I'll just take the extra money that I would be paying towards having collision that would cover my car and just invest it and just have extra money.
I think that's a good idea.
You know, could be depending on the value of the car.
My husband failed to insure this car and my kid totaled it. We owe $16,000 on it, and that's also gone to collection. My kid, since he was at fault, is the one on the hook for the $26,000 for the car he hit. We need to call a lawyer.
Oh, so it wasn't insured at all?
No.
Perfect.
We need to call a lawyer to deal with this, but I can't make my kid pay for it. It's his father's fault the car wasn't insured. Okay. Next vehicle. Must be on a car lot. Dude.
So how many vehicles have they had this
We got the minivan. We got car 1. For some reason it's called car 1. Not sure. We got the RV. We got car 2. And we got the truck. Right here we're standing at 5 vehicles.
Okay.
Truck. We owe $13,000 on it. I think this is also gone to collection. It's also in the shop getting fixed at least $600 in repairs, but maybe more. We need the truck. If we can keep the RV, that's how we tow it. So
it's not even, so the RV is a trailer. So the trailer is, there's no way in hell a trailer is big enough to hold
5 people,
6 people, 6 people, multiple cats and dogs. Because how are you going to travel? How are you going to get from place? If it was like a single vehicle where you're driving,
everybody
you can have all of the animals. Yeah, but you can't.
I mean,
when it's towed. Well,
it's illegal,
but you do you. I mean, they're in Florida, so
that's some Florida stuff.
People.
I've seen, dude.
Some Florida stuff.
Yeah. Let's get on with it. Personal
loan. All right,
loan.
what else they got?
We owe $1,400. It's in collection. Another personal loan or card. I don't know. Maybe $5,000 in collections. My husband just did the taxes. Guess what? We owe $9,000 in taxes. Yeah. Not sure. You know what? Gonna keep going. I'm gonna muscle through this. My daughter was just diagnosed with Crohn's, and even though we have insurance, we got a $3,500 bill from the hospital. Thankfully, they'll probably allow us to set up a payment plan, so that's nice.
Yeah. I'm sorry to hear about your daughter and Crohn's. That sucks.
That's unfortunate. My husband's take-home pay is about $6,000 a month. That's pretty good. That's really good. It's really good.
Yeah.
And I'm self-employed. Congratulations. Love that. We're big on that over here. And I make about $4,000 a month. Also, pretty good. Pretty good. But that's before taxes. Taxes. I've got about $6,600 in my separate bank account that will hopefully cover my minivan repairs. I don't know if we should declare bankruptcy or if I should just call each of these creditors and cry and beg for help or what. Very few options are available right now, and I'm a little bit nervous. Most of the things are in my name, the RV and the one car that works. Okay, so that complicates negotiating with the creditors. Let's see. Obviously, I can't trust my husband to do the negotiating. If he declares bankruptcy, though, won't they take the RV? And then won't they leave us without a place to live? And we'll have to get rid of our pets, right? Please don't give me please don't give me too hard a time about the pets. It's it's not my kid's fault that their dad messed up so badly. I really don't want to punish them for taking away their pets. Oh. I'm just beside myself, and it feels like life is imploding. From panicked
Yeah.
wife in financial strife, seeking guidance on her life. Wowzers, trousers. That is a dubious situation. A lot of moving parts.
Yeah, that's
there.
a lot. That's a lot of moving parts. Okay. Where do I even start with this one? I think the biggest thing is, do you guys have, like, I don't understand what the husband did. So my guess is that the husband was fully in charge of the finances entirely. And like is it like a gambling issue? Like you guys are making $6,000 for him, $4,000 a year without taxes. So let's say $9,000 a month. Where's that $9,000 going? Because $9,000 a month for a family of 6 is not a lot of money. I grant you that. But if that's the case, why the hell do you guys have 5 vehicles? Like all these different personal loans, like the Crohn's thing, that sucks. I get that. But like, why are the families that are always in such bad financial situations? Why do they always have like 6 vehicles that all have payments on them?
Yeah. Doesn't make sense.
So my first question to our writer was be like, do you guys have a budget? Like, do you guys have any idea what's going on? I'm hearing a lot of blaming your husband for this issue. And yeah, could it be his problem? Yeah, it's definitely his problem, but it's both your guys' problem. And I'm seeing like not a lot of ownership owned by both of you. I know you said that like you should have been looking into it and all this stuff, but you guys find yourself in this situation, and what are you going to do to get out of it? I don't know. Like, what are your thoughts, Dom?
It sucks when a husband makes a promise to take care of the finances, screws it up. I've seen it more than once. I think it's wise to take personal accountability for everything that's in your world. I think they're in a bad situation. I think some of it can be avoided. Some of it can't be avoided. And the hospital bill, can't be avoided. That's very unfortunate. But why are you, like, I just don't understand, like it seems like everything is falling apart. And I get where she's saying, like, life is imploding. It's like, yeah, like you're not paying attention to anything. So everything is going wrong. You know, it's, how do you, blowing up an engine is rather difficult, I would assume,
Yeah.
You got to keep maintenance up on it.
Yeah. And
just like you keep maintenance on
and
your
that's kind of what,
before.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm saying. It's like, she's saying, oh, my husband screwed all this stuff up. It's like, your husband didn't go out and buy 5 cars. Like you were there the entire situation, like watching all this happen too. And even though if you don't know like the finances, like how much money you guys have, you should know, like, or we're roughly making this amount of money, but you're seeing all these new things coming in. This isn't even accounting for how much money they're spending for their kids on like school stuff, or what they're buying when they go out to eat, and all this other crap that is going to add up very, very fast too when you have a family of 6. So like she's just saying, oh, my husband screwed all of this up. Like, and how like, and I can't, like, it's his fault. Like she didn't even say, like, that last word in the sentence is, it's not my kid's fault that their dad effed up so badly. I know you didn't read that, but she wrote it out.
It feels like you're fighting a war on multiple fronts. And I think the only way to do this is write down all of it and just try and tackle one thing at a time, because you can't attack everything at once. It's going to be overwhelming and it's going to crush you. Go for it.
So I'll give the listener like what I would do if I was in this situation. So first, you're gonna have to take like a deep breath, because there's no way in hell you're gonna fix all of this and get your financial house in order today. Like, this is gonna be a most likely year strategy, maybe decades. I don't know. But the first thing you want to do is request an official credit report from any one of the major agencies. That could be Equifax, TransUnion, or Experian. This is going to show you all of your reported debt, what's in collections, what's late by 30, 60, and 90 days. And then what debt you have in good standing. So what's not in collections. Because it sounds like you and your husband, you don't really have a full trust as to what he's telling you. So this is going to actually be facts. Like this is what you need. You need facts. This whole like, I don't know what's in collections. I don't know how much money. You can't do that anymore. You have to take ownership. Next thing is just like you said with writing it down. I would say create a spreadsheet listing all the information about your debt that you find. And you're going to be adding all the values in all of your assets, every asset you have, all the values, all the debts you have. So you're going to have all your liabilities, all your assets. Then you're going to gather all the statements from your credit cards, your debit cards, your savings accounts, your bank accounts, all those. You're going to need all of those too. Then you're going to figure out how much money do you have liquid to you? What can we sell? What around the house can we get rid of to start bringing in money? Do we have an investment account? I really doubt it, but like where do we have money that we can start to get? And then after that, we're going to look at all those statements over the last 3 months and determine where all the money is going. Because like you said, or like we said, they're making like $9,000. Where's all that money going? Because you're going to need to start throwing it at this debt aggressively. You know, she said, should I declare bankruptcy? Honestly, maybe. I don't know what to tell her on that. What I would say for that is you definitely want to talk to a bankruptcy attorney and get a free consultation and some advice on there. But I don't think that bankruptcy is the first thing to go to, especially if you haven't tried to pay down any of these debts. And it doesn't sound like she has. It sounds like they've just let everything go to collection. And maybe the husband, his whole thing was, if I ignore it long enough, it'll go away.
Terrible strategy.
Terrible strategy. So if you want to go to episode 32, all about bankruptcy, so you can understand that process a little bit better before you go down that route, but you need to get a consultation. If you're really in danger of getting all the 3 vehicles repossessed, your credit's already fucked. So selling the house will be awful for you, because not only can you not get an apartment because you have 2 dogs and 3 cats, and I have 3 dogs and a cat, and I love my animals, and there's no way I get rid of my animals. So I understand where she's saying like going with the animals is a no-go. I probably understand that more than other people. But even disregard the animals, your credit's probably so effed that you wouldn't even be able to get into an apartment.
Yeah.
So if you sell the house, that's your lifeline right now. That's the only thing keeping something over your head. Yeah, if you declare bankruptcy, the RV is gone, which it already should be gone because it sounds like they're trying to repossess it. The cars are probably going to be gone, but the one thing you do get to keep is the house. And yeah, the house sounds like it's effed too, but at least you have something. You have a roof over your head. Even if it's not perfect.
So
you have a broken roof over your head, but like it sounds like you have a broken foundation in your finances, in your level of communication, in the family unit. There's a lot of stuff here. Your idea to like sell the house and leave the state and live in your RV that's trying to be repossessed is not an option.
No.
It really isn't, unless you can move in with your mother who's sick and like move the whole family and the cats and the dogs into that house. Like, could that be an option? I guess if that's an option, then you can do that. But I really doubt that grandma has like a home big enough to sustain that many people, especially if she's in failing health. Like that's going to be just awful on her as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but I really can't see a way out of this with you selling the house. Like, unless your whole family's gonna go up there and live with grandma.
Yeah.
So what are our 2 debt strategies? There's the debt snowball, the debt avalanche. For this one, I would probably go snowball, because just based off like her not knowing, like obviously financially the debt avalanche is the better way to do it, where you're just going to go and find the one with the highest interest rate, take those out first. But it sounds like she probably has some pretty big ones. Like she said, she has a personal loan or cards with $5,000 on it. Like she needs to start somewhere. You need to start paying down these strategies. You need to list them all out on that spreadsheet and just attack them strategically. We're going to take one out, then we're going to move on to the next one. Minimum payments and taking one and putting the rest towards that towards that payment. You can't do this spray and pray approach where you're just trying to like throw money at everything, because then nothing ever happens.
Yeah. It's better to have.
Yeah, this situation is bad.
It's better to be concentrated on one at a time rather than spraying the hose everywhere. You're not gonna fight the interest doing it that way.
Yeah. So biggest thing that she's gonna have to do is just, it comes down to how much money you make minus how much money you spend. It sounds like she has no idea how much money she's spending. She has no idea how much debt she has. Truly, she thinks she has an idea, but we need to have like real numbers as to what the hell is going on here in order to make real recommendations. But yeah, bankruptcy for this situation, based off everything they said, might be the right way to go. But yeah, you're going to lose all the vehicles and everything. But it sounds like most of the vehicles don't work anyways. So what's the point of having them?
Yeah. It's a rough situation to be in. That's a rough.
It is, but one thing that I hear when I see all this is like, they had the money. Like they it's not like they're not making money. Between them, they're probably making 140, 150 ish. And for a family of 6, is that enough? Probably not. It's not like a great life, but they had enough money to put themselves in this situation. And that's sometimes even more dangerous. If you are so like low on the totem pole that you're making no money, then it's sometimes hard to put yourself in this type of a situation.
Yeah. As you move up, you gotta get more financially responsible. The more money you have, the more problems you can create.
Yep.
Simple as that.
Yeah. Yeah. That old adage of more money, more problems, that's not true. But more money, the more ability to put yourself into problems. That's true.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. Well, to our listener in Florida, big hugs from here in Arizona. Like, good luck. I would definitely recommend reaching out to a someone like a bankruptcy attorney or something like that. Make sure you're working with a fiduciary. You are going to have to get a better handle on your debts. So when you saying like, I don't want to deal with any of these like debt repayment plans or anything like that, guess what? You're going to have to. You just have to. Like, I don't know what you mean by like, I don't want to do that. Like, you have to pay it off. What's your plan? Even if you go to bankruptcy, it's not going to clear all of this. You still have the 280 on the house. You still have to make the repairs. You're still going to have to do all that stuff. Just saying like, I don't want to spend all this. I don't want to spend money because I don't want to spend money on my debt. You put yourself into the situation. You need to get yourself out of the situation. And bankruptcy is there to help you get out of the situation. But there are still other things that are going to have to be made up for, regardless of what you choose to do.
Yeah. With that being said,
right, I should have closed that out.
Good luck. You got this.
Good luck.
We believe in you. I think one thing to keep in mind is possible.
It is possible.
To get out of it.
I have seen worse situations than this, and I've seen people get out of it.
It's possible. You can do it.
It's possible. You just have to dedicate yourself to it and get it done.
It's not
prioritize, execute.
Prioritize and execute. It's not impossible. It's doable, but it's not easy. But you can do it. You can do it. With that being said, we're going to get on to win of the week. For today's win of the week, I'm going to go first. Mine's way cooler than Chris's. Way cooler. Not even close. I moved into a wicked, sick new penthouse in the sky. Great natural lighting behind me. That's a joke. I just got a new background. Got a new background for the YouTube homies. For those that are watching on YouTube, we do. I heard some comments from a few of my followers saying that they didn't know we had a video podcast. They only listen on Spotify. So for those that don't know, on Spotify it shows the video as well. On YouTube, we are on YouTube. So yes, I got a new background. But yeah, take
yes.
That's my win of the week.
Go to YouTube. Yeah, go to YouTube, like, subscribe, all that good stuff.
Chris, what's your win of the week? It's tough to beat that one, I know.
I know. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try to beat your background. But I just made it back from my 11-day vacation to Japan, and I look forward to sharing my photos with you guys next 5 Friday feedback. We'll probably want to talk a lot about finances on that one, but I'll just kind of share with you what it was like to be in Japan, what I recommend doing, what I don't recommend doing. So in case you guys ever want to go to Japan, you can always reach out to me and I'd be happy to talk to you about it. It was a great time, but I am super jet lagged still. Being 16 hours ahead and traveling 25 hours or more to get home. It wrecks a person.
It does. I can't wait to hear all about it, though. Can't wait to hear all about it.
Yeah, next Friday feedback, I would definitely recommend, if you listen to us only on the pod, check us out on YouTube that day. And on that day, also subscribe and everything, because I'll be showing photos from Japan. And we went during Sakura season, which is the cherry blossom season. So we have some beautiful photos of the cherry blossom, which is a very unique time because it only happens for like a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks in Japan every year. So it's a very, very small window for people to be there to get these photos that I was able to get.
I cannot wait to see those photos. Oh yeah, guys, that is it for today's podcast. I hope you learned something. I hope you learned what to do and what not to do. Hope you enjoyed. If you're still here, we appreciate you. And it would be crazy of you if you didn't already like the video. If you didn't already subscribe or follow for more. It would be crazy. And since you made it this far, I think you should tell a friend about the podcast, because it's so much more fun to go on a journey with friends than to go alone. Plus, you'll go farther anyways. But yeah, That's today's podcast. Thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you in the next one. Later, guys. Peace.
Later.
This video podcast is sponsored by Monzon Wealth. The content in this podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be considered financial advice. We do not endorse specific products or services. Past performance does not guarantee future results. The opinions expressed are those of the host and guests, not the podcast sponsor.
It is crucial to consult with a qualified financial advisor or professional who can provide advice tailored to your specific needs before making any financial decisions, investments, or taking any other actions. If you are seeking specified help, you can reach out to Chris at monzonwealth.com.